Welcome everybody to the Ready Player One Book Club. My name is CleverDingbat. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to be tackling chapters 30 through 34 tonight. When last we left Wade, he was inside an IOI indent center. Yep. In chapter 30, we see Wade really getting into his technical support rep job, where he has to work 12-hour shifts of basically, this is call center work. And it's not the fun type of call center work. He's getting, he'll get a call from someone who bought an item on, on the auctions inside the Oasis or on one of IOI's auctions, right? And this will be like, for example, and the book gives a really good one. This guy calls in and he has a sword, right? And he wants to know why he can't use it. The real problem here is that the person who bought the sword just can't fucking read. But he doesn't know that. So he calls into the tech support. Wade answers, and Wade immediately knows what his problem is and why he can't equip this sword. But he has to find a better way of telling him, because he can't tell him that it's an ID10T error. He can't tell him that it's a PEBCAC error or anything like that. So he tactfully tells him, you either have to sell the sword or store it because you're too low level. You can't use the sword yet. And the guy's like, oh, okay. And that's essentially what Wade does for 12 hours a day, every day, inside of the indentured servant center. He has a plan going in here, right? He had planned to get captured and put in here under the false name that he had created, which is Bryce Lynch. But he definitely does not want to spend the rest of his life in here, because this is hell. This is like a whole nother level of hell. For anyone that has ever worked IT or customer service call center support, it is absolute hell. I would not recommend it. It's the worst. The absolute worst. Before committing himself into servitude, though, he had obtained some IOI passwords from an illegal website. It was kind of like, it's the hacker's black market, essentially. And Wade picked up these passwords just on the off chance that one day he might need them, right? The only catch is that these passwords had to work from inside IOI. Luckily, guess where Wade's found himself? He's found himself inside an IOI indent center. So he's on their intranet. These passwords are probably going to work and help him. So what Wade does is, for the first 12 hours of his shift, he is doing his job just like everybody else. And then with the passwords, he's able to access their system at night. He basically uses the passwords to manipulate his cameras so they can't see what he's doing. He learns how to do this without looking, so that, the cameras are not watching what he's doing. They just think he's asleep, or they think that he's watching the Johnny Q IOI propaganda / training videos, because that's all they allow him to watch. Wade is able to put the camera on a loop so he can do whatever he wants, but until he gets the camera on a loop, he's got to be doing something that he wants them to, think that he's doing for the rest of the time until he unloops the camera. While he's in there, and he hacks into their systems, he downloads all the Sixer files on Sorrento and the data on the third gate, as well as all the data that they have on Halliday, which Wade was quite impressed by. It's like 10 xenobytes of data. He finds some pretty scary stuff. Apparently, IOI has been observing all of them: Wade, Artemis, H, Shoto, and Daito. He even finds a video of IOI agents throwing Daito off of the balcony, where he had said to have jumped and committed suicide. Inside the files, he learns that Artemis's real name is Samantha Evelyn Cook. Wade even looks at a picture of her because that's not creepy or anything. I mean, so I know that, like, online, Wade comes off like a lot of people online still pitch this idea that Wade is a cyber stalker, and they have a point. But the thing is it's not like he's doing this maliciously. He's not doing this to specifically, stalk her or anything like that. Is it a little bit creepy? Maybe. I guess this is the Dahmer Dobler theory, right? Anybody seen How I Met Your Mother? Dahmer Dobler? Lloyd Dobler from Say Anything. The guy who goes and holds the boombox up. Or Jeffrey Dahmer from the Dahmer Party. One's a creep, the other's endearing. So, and both of them could be the same thing. It's just dependent upon, the person who is seeing it. So, does Artemis think, the real question is does Artemis think he is a creep? So, that's never really, expressed or laid out. Other than the fact that she's told him that she's not interested in seeing him romantically until after the competition has concluded. He finds that IOI doesn't know H's true identity, though. Largely because H has used a fake name on his registration, and his address is mobile, so they have no clue. H has covered his tracks very well. Since IOI has flagged them all to be disposed of, Wade realizes that he has to accelerate his escape plan, because he had originally set up an automated payment to come in after about 9 days, I think, something like that, in order to pay off his debt and he could just leave. But unfortunately, he finds out this information that IOI wants to essentially get rid of all of those who were in the High Five. This was a plan that Sorrento himself had comprised and was going to be putting forward to the board of IOI tomorrow. So Wade wants to break out now. He needs to warn his friends now, and he has to accelerate his escape plan. Depends on how attractive the stalkee thinks the stalker is. I mean, that's one way of putting it, Zacchaeus, for sure. But attractive is attraction's in the eye of the beholder, right? There's a lot of things that can be seen as attractive from one person to another. Some may like personality better than physical beauty. Some may judge them equally. Some may, I don't know. I guess one way of putting it is different strokes for different folks. But again, I know everybody says that Wade is a creep and a stalker and all of that. And I get their point. But at the same time, it's like, what has he really done other than what a good majority of people on the internet do every single day? Which is go to people's Facebook pages, go to people's Twitter feeds, go to people's Twitch channels. Not saying you guys are creeps or stalkers or anything, because that's not true, but that's all he's done. The content's out there and available. You're just going to consume it. That's all it is. And Wade happens to, he's broken in this specific scenario, in chapter 30, he had broken into a place that had been known to try and kill him specifically. And he's worried about his friends. He's worried about the state of the Oasis. He's worried about all this. So at this point, IOI is essentially the NSA before the Snowden revelations. Right? And for those that don't know, Edward Snowden was he worked for the CIA and NSA as an analyst, I believe is what he was an analyst for cybersecurity, if I remember correctly. He has a book out. It's really good. If you haven't read it, you should. It's called Permanent Record. It's definitely a book that the U.S. government themselves tried to stop from being published. It's a book that they definitely do not want you to read. I would highly recommend reading it because it is an interesting look back at how the internet has formed and forged modern society. It will get you flagged for reading it. I have it. I have a copy of it. I bought it on Audible. It is great. It is amazing. But he revealed documents to the press that the U.S. government was spying on its citizens in the name of basically in the name of, Homeland Security, because they wanted it to infringe upon everyone's right to privacy to catch terrorists. And that's where the rub is. And they were doing it without the people's knowledge. That's the thing. It should be up to the people to decide one way or the other. It infringed upon the Constitution because of that. And he felt that he had to do what he had to do to uphold his oath that he took to the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. But again, that's just getting into the data stalkery stuff, because the real data and stalker here is IOI, not Parzival. Parzival just found the data and gave it to the media. Not only gave it to the media, but gave it to the people that they were tracking, all that sort of stuff. So Wade is essentially about to blow the whistle on this entire thing. So in chapter 31, the whole shebang of IOI's files, right? This clocks in at about 10 zettabytes. A zettabyte is essentially equivalent to 250 billion DVDs. So 250 billion DVDs times 10 is what they have. And that's the amount of data that Wade is trying to extract. 10 zettabytes. So that's... Hold on. About 5 trillion, I think. Is that right? 5 trillion DVDs worth of information. That's a lot. Like, that would take you years to parse through, if not an entire lifetime to parse through that. That's probably how much information is comprised in a life, which is, the majority of that data is all on Halliday. So that makes sense. Wade disguises himself as a maintenance tech with the code name of Harry Tuttle, which is Robert De Niro's character from the movie Brazil, and manages to walk out of IOI without incident. Piece of cake. He was so anxious trying to get out of there because one of the things he was really anxious about was his plastic shoes, because he could not find, he had a maintenance tech uniform, but he did not have the shoes to match. So he was just hoping people would not look down at his feet and notice that he is he's not a maintenance guy. So what Wade does is he picks up some new equipment from a mailbox that he had it delivered to, which is he picked up like a portable state-of-the-art Oasis console. And he had he immediately, as soon as he logs in, he emails H, Artemis, and Shoto the information, on that IOI had on them, as well as all of the information that he pulled out. What this does is it makes copies. So Wade's got it in multiple places so that if something happens to him, information's still going to get out. He then erases the Bryce Lynch identity and goes back to being Wade Watts again. He makes a stop after this to a vending machine called a defense dispenser. It's a vending machine for weapons and armor. This is in the real world. So Wade grabs a bulletproof vest, a gun, some ammo, and a can of mace, in case he needs to defend himself. Because IOI has made it apparent after killing Daito and the attempted murder on him and the murder of everyone that was in his stack. So he knows that IOI, if they know where he's going to be, they could try and kill him. But he picks all this stuff up and he heads to a local internet cafe for Oasis users that is not IOI owned. He wanted to make sure of this. And he rents, a gigantic data pipe, as well as an Oasis rig for 12 hours with all the upgrades. This ends up costing him like 11,000 credits or something. And he logs in there so that he can log into H's basement and meet up with his friends that he had shot the email out to, which is now H, Artemis, and Shoto, and him, because he wants them to, you know, meet up with him. This was the email he sent. He essentially said that they need to get the hell out of Dodge as quickly as they possibly can and find somewhere that they can log into while they're on the once they get to a safe place while they're on the run, and they want to meet up and in H's basement for a chat. Once everyone is inside the privacy of H's basement, Parzival tells, you know, I don't want to call him the high five anymore because Daito's not there, but it's the high five minus Daito. He tells them about his daring adventure into the heart of IOI. He also spills that he saw a picture of Artemis. I don't know if that was a good idea or not for him, which makes her mad that he didn't respect her privacy, even though his nosiness saved her life. They feel Parzival in on Sorrento's repeated failed attempts at opening the third gate. Over the gate are 3 words: faith, hope, and charity. It's a clue. It's a clue from Schoolhouse Rock, because these are lyrics. These are lyrics from the song 3 is a Magic Number. And Wade thinks that this means that 3 people must try to open the gate simultaneously. And the fact that IOI hasn't even made the connection to Schoolhouse Rock yet just is like, it's so funny, because they're just like, these guys are dumb. So dumb. Like, they've tried so many different things and all of them were terrible. Even down to using verses from the Bible and that sort of things, because they're just desperate at this point to get this gate open. IOI is. And the Artemis, I believe it was in the book, she even says, like, these guys are so dumb. Halliday was an atheist. Like, he would not use that to even try to get in. Parzival has a plan, though. And this is his plan. He sends an email. He's going to send an email to all Oasis users, imploring them to come together against IOI for the integrity of the hunt. The rest of the plan, he's keeping it a secret right now. He's just telling everybody to trust him. I got it figured out. The main problem is that the 4 major members of the group are homeless and they're on the run for their lives. So that's the real world consequences of what they're trying to do right now. But then Ogden Morrow pops into existence. He's in the chat room. He's in there, and he's been in there. He's been in there probably for every one of their conversations. It turns out that Og, being one of the co-creators of the Oasis, has given himself super user access to the entire simulation. Not only is he all powerful, he's immortal, and he can go anywhere and do whatever he wants at any time because he's a super user of the simulation. And it's amazing. He can literally go anywhere, anytime, and do anything he wants. And he's virtually invincible, which, I mean, is the display of power that we saw when, IOI raided his club. He offers to fly them all in the real world to his estate in Oregon and give them sanctuary there. There are planes waiting for them at their closest airports. Artemis and Shoto are able to drive, but Wade doesn't have wheels. H just so happens to be nearby and is driving around in his RV. So he's going to come pick up Wade and take them to the airport in Columbus. H warns Wade, though, because H is very nervous about meeting Wade, and Wade is nervous about meeting H because they're going to be sharing a car with one another, and they have yet to meet each other as long as they've been friends. And H is particularly nervous and warns Wade that he doesn't look anything like his avatar. And meeting in person might be kind of a shock. Wade is a little nervous about meeting H as well. Even more nervous, though, about meeting Artemis in Oregon. A few hours later, H's RV, covered with solar panels, rolls up and Wade hops in. And and Parzival gets the big reveal. H doesn't look anything like his avatar at all. She is not even a he. She is an African American woman, instead of a white Caucasian male, that, his avatar, that H uses as an avatar. We find out that H is also a lesbian, and that she was kicked out of her house because her mother did not agree with her choices. And it's upsetting to hear that. After a temporary wave of shock, Wade gets over it. H is still his best friend and has been. And H is still his best friend and has been. And, he makes sure that she knows that this doesn't change anything. That they're still best friends and they're going to be best friends. On the plane ride to Oregon, she tells Wade her life story. So this is when she tells Wade literally everything that's been, that has gone on in her life that he might not have known. The stuff with her mom and with her sexual orientation. Og has a private landing strip on his estate, so the planes are going to land directly, at Og's house. He has a runway there. And when they see it, H literally says that it looks like Rivendell from Lord of the Rings. And Ogg's wife, Kira, loved Tolkien and Lord of the Rings. So Ogg built their house as if it were Rivendell. Crazy amazing. Ogg greets them in fuzzy slippers and a bathrobe. When I first read this part in the book, like, it was one of those, like, this guy's the dude. He's Lebowski. But he's a very smart Lebowski. It also made me think of, like, oh, this guy's just a computer programmer. I get it. But Ogg greets them in fuzzy slippers and a bathrobe. And he leads them into his basement. Kinda weird that it's in the basement, but he does. And he uses a torch to guide them down there. So it's like they're in Rivendell. It's just cool. Wade gets suited up, as does H. Ogg tells him to pick a bay, and because Ogg has a bunch of different Habishaw rigs ready to go, and he tells him to pick a bay and get ready to fight. And now we'll move on to chapter 34. So chapter 34 is when everything's kicking off. Everybody logs in. They get to the planet. They're going to Castle Anorak. The shield's covering Castle Anorak. The gang swoops down onto Halliday's castle, each one in their own giant robot. Shoto has a Gundam. I think H also had a Gundam, I believe. I forget what Artemis had, but Wade had Leopardon from Spider-Man. And these were the giant robots that they won at the second gate. They have some time to kill. Parzival's plan is to blow up the shield. Or Parzival's plan to blow up the shield won't go into effect until noon. He's got something automated for this to go down. Sorrento is guarding Castle Anorak with his giant robot. And he has Mechagodzilla. While the robots battle it out, Parzival's plan activates. He had hacked into a supply droid, which looks like Johnny Five from Short Circuit. And it just trundles up to the wizard generating the shield, and before he could do anything, it detonates and kills him. And the shield's down. So Wade literally turns a supply droid into a drone and makes it go kill the wizard, and then the shield's down because it takes constant invocation in order to keep the shield going. So he just kills the wizard and then the shield comes down. Done. And the battle that is taking place here is like, if you guys have ever seen the Ultimate Showdown on YouTube, it's like that. You've got references everywhere here because of all the different types of pop culture that are coming together in this fight. You have all the citizens of the Oasis coming together against IOI because they are the real evil. They are the big bad. They are the giant multinational corporation that is trying to take over the world, essentially. And they don't want it. They don't want them to have control of it because they're going to ruin it. They're going to corrupt it and make it not the place that it is. It's time to discuss. So what do you guys think about the reading this week? So does anybody want to come up to my basement? Zeki does. I mean, this week's reading was really intense. It was fast paced. It was awesome because it plays out a lot like a heist movie. You got a guy who's breaking out of prison. Well, it's like a heist movie mixed with Shawshank Redemption. Because Wade's having to break out of a prison that he's been put in. Even though he put himself in there, he's been put in there negligently. Like the information that got him in there is incorrect. It's not real. Wade made it up. So he's innocent, and he's in this, indentured servitude jail. Wade did have an elaborate ass plan. Like it's one of those, and not only that, it's absolutely crazy. Like, one of the things that really hinges on the success of that plan entirely were those passwords. And Wade staked him going in there and the passwords that he bought onto the credibility of the black market auction site that he got them from. Which, I mean, in that time, black market sites probably do have really good reputations and that sort of thing, kind of like eBay, but eBay's not black market, So just staking your whole life and existence and whether or not you are going to be a slave to IOI on a series of passwords is insane. That he just randomly bought because he thought, oh, hey, maybe. Yeah, he randomly bought them because he thought he might run into a situation where he needs them. Like, it seems like it's like a perfect plot hole filler, right? That's really the only thing about that, is it's just not, I mean, it makes sense, but it's not satisfying, right? Having read this book a bunch of times, this is probably the one thing in the book that's least satisfying to me to read. Because as someone who had gone to school for network security before I did computer program, before I did mobile development and programming, graphic design, all that sort of stuff, it just seems outlandish. I mean, don't get me wrong, you could probably go on the dark web and get passwords. People sell them on there all the time. But whether they're credible or not, that's a different matter. But anyway, the passwords that he bought, like, he got them dirt cheap as well, because there was no way to, I think he said there was no way to verify their authenticity or something like that. But then Wade eventually figured out that they were good to go somehow. So I don't know. That's the one part. That's the one part of this whole plot that really kind of just makes me go, huh. It's trying to write yourself out of a hole, I think. I would like to hear what Ernest Cline has to say about that point on there. Because that's a really, like, it's so late to bring in something like that. I'm waiting for that quarter to be used for something. Oh yeah. I mean, I don't want to, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there are some hanging threads in the book that have yet to be pulled out. The very first time I read this book, the thing that really stuck out to me was the H reveal, right? I remember me and Haley listening to this for the first time in the car. I listened to this for the second time in the car with her on our drive. It was our drive to Virginia. During Christmas. This would have been back in like I want to say 2015, I believe. There we go. So the first time I'd read this and I'd found out that H was a woman and not a man, like you were led to believe for the first half of the book, is I was like, that totally makes sense. I really wasn't that surprised by it at all. I had a theory going that because H's character is set up to be kind of secretive and keep his stuff to himself the whole time. And it just makes sense to me. It made total sense to me. I probably, like, halfway through the book, I was already starting to theorize, I bet H is a woman. But that was me. I was picking up on clues that were dropped. Was anybody surprised by that? If you're reading this for the first time? I'm curious. Also, yes, Executus, I got to swing the band hammer. I wish I could set up something for that when that command's used in chat. Like just have Thor come out of nowhere. Oh no, because the movie. Okay, so you already had it spoiled for you because of the movie. Okay. I was, because I forgot the movie. But I only remember parts of the movie. Yeah, I mean, that makes total sense, because if you've seen the movie before, then you already know all the major spoilers, right? So like that's not going to surprise you. Were you surprised during the movie, or were you following it before and had known that H was going to be a woman before the movie came out? Because like that actress was already doing like press and everything for it. Gotcha. Okay. I mean, I don't remember it being that big of a surprise. I think it was a big surprise for Haley when Haley was reading it with me. I think she was quite surprised by it, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong though. You guys got any questions or comments or things that stuck out to you in the reading this week? I think the only thing I remember about the whole movie is the Jade Gate scene. Oh yeah, the Jade Gate scene in the movie is really, I mean, kind of unforgettable, really. Because you're stuck in The Shining. And who wants to be stuck in that? I mean, maybe. What I remember about the movie isn't even in the book, I don't think. I mean, there's so much that the movie differs from the book. Right? Yeah, the first key is a race. The first key is a race in the movie. The movie is, and we'll be watching it on the 24th. Let me ask you guys how you feel about moving book club to the 24th. And then after book club, we'll do it here on Twitch, how we have been doing it. It'll basically be a special edition of the stream. Because I'm going to be doing Extra Life that Sunday to Monday coming up this weekend. Yeah, I'm doing Extra Life on the 22nd, or next week, 22nd on Sunday, through, I'm going to start at 9 p.m. on Sunday night and go to 9 p.m. on the 23rd. At least. If not longer. So I'm wondering what you guys feel about doing the book club and the movie all on the same night on the 24th. We do the book club at 9, like how we have been doing. We do it for an hour. And then we all go over to the Discord and watch Ready Player One in the Discord. And we do the book giveaway. And I can announce the giveaway here on stream. I'm CleverDingbat, and I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Twitch from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. On Monday nights, we meet at 9 for our Ready Player One book club. Next Tuesday, November the 24th, we will be doing our giveaway for Ready Player 2 that coincides with our movie night in Discord for Ready Player 1. This will all kick off in the CleverDingbat Discord at 10 p.m. Link is in the description down below for both the giveaway, which is a player.gg campaign, as well as the Discord. We look forward to seeing you in there and would really enjoy you guys coming out to movie night. Also, we're going to be having movie night this weekend in the CleverDingbat Discord as well, and we will be watching Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So it's sure to be fun. We didn't have movie night last weekend, unfortunately. I fell asleep, so I do apologize for that. But I'll make up for it this movie night. We'll do a double feature. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Be excellent to each other. I'll see you in the next one.